Yo, what up, what up? It's your girl, IkwerreGirl Acheru, all the way from London, UK. You're only IkwerreGirl living in London. You can argue with yourself. So, I just wanted to share this story about the kids, right? So the kids were jumping up and down, jumping up and down, jumping up and down, just randoming about. So I said, oh, I got a poem to tell you guys. And they said, all right, go ahead. So I said, okay, this is the poem is, there was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children and didn't know what to do. She gave them some bread without any broth. Literally gave them toast without Nutella or jam.
Yes!
Whipped them all soundly and sent them to bed.
Hey!
I was like, yeah. They're like, no, mommy, say that again. I'm like, there was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children and didn't know what to do. She gave them some bread without any broth, whipped them all soundly and sent them to bed.
Hey! So
I'm looking at them like, I hope you're getting the message, yeah? You're jumping up and down. Just the next thing I heard, right? Mommy, was that a Nigerian old woman?
Jesus is love!
So the kids couldn't sleep, right? And I was like, oh my goodness. Oh, mommy, I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I'm like, okay, do you know what? Count sheep.
You what?
And they're like, well, where are the sheep that we're going to count?
Hey!
I'm like, no, you have to imagine. What does that mean to imagine then? I'm like, in your mind's eye, you're going to begin to see stuff. You can see the sheep. My son is like, in my mind's eyes?
Jesus!
My mind doesn't have any eyes. And then my daughter is like, silly mommy,
Hey!
minds don't have eyes. I'm like, no, you have to, like when you close your eyes and you see stuff, or you have a dream, it's like you're dreaming, you're daydreaming. This is how long I have to try to get them to understand the concept. And me, I'm losing sleep trying to do this. They're like, okay, finally, they get the concept of, in their mind's eye, imagine sheep. They're like, oh, but I can't see anything. I'm like, imagine the sheep. I'm like, okay, I see one sheep then. I'm like, yeah. So we go through this process to get them to see one sheep. And I'm like, count the sheep. They're like, oh, there's only one sheep. I'm like, no, you have to think about so many sheep. What are they doing then? I'm like, they're jumping over the fence. So you have to keep, I can't find the fence. I'm like, imagine it. So literally it takes over 30 minutes to get them to get the concept of imagining sheep, lots of sheep, jumping over the fence to the other side and then counting it. Do you know what? By the time I got them to imagine this and go through the process, I was just like, do you know what? Yeah, I should have just let them come sleep in my bed. I tell you, man, some things are not that easy. So the other day, yeah, I'm thinking, as an African mother, I'm trying to exercise my rights as a mom, because I did this thing for my parents all the time. So I'm sat down on the sofa, I'm watching a program on TV, and then my book falls down on the floor, and I'm sat on the sofa, my foot on the square, and I'm chilled. So I call out to my son, boy, come this way then. And he comes down. He's like, what is it, mommy? I'm like, can you help me get the book on the floor? He looks at me like this and looks at the floor. He's like, why then? Why can't you get it yourself?
Hey! Jesus is love!
I'm like, no, just get the book. And this is me trying to exercise my rights as an African mother. And he's telling me, why can't I get it then? I'm like, no, just get it for me. So he reluctantly, he gets the book and he gives it to me. And then I hear him telling his sister, you know what? I think mommy's getting a bit lazy these days. She's like, why then? She's like, can you believe she called me all the way to come and get her book from the floor? I tell you, these kids of nowadays, they don't understand the concept of how we grew up. So I had my mom get me to pick grey hairs from my hair, even though I knew she didn't have grey hair. But you diligently just go there like, and then she'll go, oh my goodness, you've given me what's that thing they call it?
Mama Yabo!
Oh, you picked up too much of my hair. You picked up too much. No. See, look. She do all that stuff, and then we'll pick the grey hairs anyway. Now, I don't even do that because, okay, one, I don't have grey hairs, and I don't even know how I'm going to teach these ones to try and pick the grey hairs. There's stuff like picking stones from rice, picking stones from beans. You can't do that here, except I just buy beans and rice and just put stones in it. But they're not going to understand the concept. So I thought about the easiest thing they can do that they can enjoy. So I got like a dodgy back and all, and it's like, okay, for kids, you know what? You're going to lay down on the floor, you're going to step on my back. I'm like, why then? I'm like, don't say why then, just step on my back. They're like, how? So I put the teddy on the floor, and I'm like walking on the back of the teddy, and I'm like, can we do that? Biggest mistake, do not try this with children in this country. These kids are not that old. I mean, up till I was about 10 years old, I still used to walk on my mom's back because I understood the concept. I get these kids, 4 and 6, one after the other, to walk on my back so I can feel better. I tell you, when they got off my back, I just stayed there and I just slept till the next day because I literally did not have a back anymore.
I'm a ninja, I'm a ninja, I'm a ninja, I'm a ninja, I'm
I'm a ninja. I'm a ninja.